stress. According to medical staff, I was still on my feet and not convulsing on the ground, so technically it was not a medical emergency. Today, Don Barnes has received nearly $300 million of our taxpayer money to expand his jail empire at the James Music Facility. The cost for expanding the music jail will only grow as the coronavirus pandemic continues to impact our communities and our nation's economy. To those of you who hear me, I say, do not stand by and just blame Don Barnes or his deputies for expanding their torture chambers with your money. Stop them. Stop him. Don Barnes does not care about the mentally ill or those who suffer from substance abuse issues. You are being duped, you are being fooled, and you are being manipulated. Jails do not treat mental health issues, they exacerbate them. You can't treat the bite of a venomous snake with poison. Allowing Don Barnes to use your money to expand the music jail is the poison that will ruin and destroy lives that are already in peril. How can I return to my community and become a productive member of society when I know that the nightmarish place I am coming from still exists? Jail is not the answer. This place is killing us. It's killing our minds and it's killing our souls. Please help us. Please stop the music expansion.
I'm hating, I had to see that. Questioning, would it be the same even if he black? I'm making assumptions, judging, basing off what you look like. Tatted, dreads, pants sacking, looking real crip like, and I'm hella frustrated. I gotta get this shit off me. Know he full of trouble, he looking like he off me. Ain't did nothing yet, but I know he committed crimes. Know he sold in some dimes, just get this nigga some time. Trying to get you in the system, or you can become a victim, and you won't have bail for your family to come and get you. What the fuck was he thinking? Staring and not blinking. When I yelled, he should've stopped, got shook and started sinking. See the badge, you know the game. You see my face, you see his tag, you know the name. Look at the race, I see death around the corner. It's survival of the fittest, and I'm shooting any cracker who look like he wanna get it. If the roads really change, you wouldn't like that, huh? Screaming all lives matter, trying to fight back, huh? Yeah, I ain't really tripping. I probably just get acquitted with a fire headline and say something that's real fitted, like black woman saving the day, putting her cape on. One less white boy or Becky for her to take on. In an alternate universe, I wouldn't even judge, cause everything I do would be simply out of love.
I see death around the corner. I see death around the corner.
On August 29, 1970, more than 20,000 demonstrators marched through East Los Angeles for the National Chicano Moratorium against the Vietnam War. The protest for peace abruptly turned into a conflict between demonstrators and the sheriff's deputies. By the end of what had turned into a violent attack by the sheriff's department on peaceful protesters, over 100 people were arrested and 3 were dead. Trailblazing Latino journalist Ruben Salazar was among one of the 3. Ruben Salazar's death had come to seem much more like an assassination than an accident, though the police report would state otherwise. For years, community members investigated his cause of death, given the fact that Salazar spoke truth to power when it came to law enforcement and the Chicano struggle. It was a moratorium because it was a call to suspend the loss of brown lives in the slog of the Vietnam War, half a planet away. 2 times as many people with Spanish surnames were dying at its peak in proportion to their population in the Southwest. Chicanos were tired of their people dying at war for a country that continues to prove it is unwilling to go to bat for them. The events and emotions of that chaotic day still reverberate in LA's Latino community 50 years later. The issues at play back then, injustice and police brutality, are reflected on the streets of LA now. On the 50-year anniversary of the National Chicano Moratorium, we encourage people to commemorate the event by continuing to pursue justice for the Latinx community, as well as the Black, Indigenous, and non-white communities being attacked or marginalized at the hands of law enforcement and the administration.
My name is Juan Cartagena. I am the President General Counsel of Latino Justice, and along with Latino Rebels and the Schools Not Prisons Stop the Violence tour, we're about to engage in a very important conversation that anchors a lot of what we're talking about today historically into a very important period of time, 50 years ago, that is now commemorating the life and death of Rubén Salazar. Rubén Salazar was an important journalist of his times, a leading journalist of his times. He was the first Mexicano, first Chicano to ever have a position of that importance at a major news publication, the Los Angeles Times. But he covered issues and community-based issues affecting Chicanos and Mexicanos in El Paso, of course in Los Angeles, but also in Mexico City. His viewpoints and his coverage covered everything from Cuba to international issues, the Dominican Republic. This was during the 1960s. He also definitely covered the Vietnam War. And that is where we start to anchor our conversation. We're anchoring in this conversation with the Chicano Moratorium. So Chicano Moratorium basically was the biggest Chicano-Mexicano protest in the history of Los Angeles against the Vietnam War. It makes sense to talk about it from that perspective. It makes sense because people of color, soldiers who were conscripted into the war, were disproportionately the ones who never came back. Disproportionately the ones who did come back with trauma, and disproportionately the ones who came back wounded. So this whole notion about how Chicanos were fighting American battles overseas, and yet the real battle was right here at home, in Los Angeles, in California, in the United States. It's something that Rubén Salazar covered amazingly well. He covered it from multiple perspectives. And by talking about the issue, about what it is to be a person of color, a Chicano, and making sure that those issues are at the forefront of any discussion about resistance, it spans geographically the life and times that we lived in back then in the 1960s. The Vietnam War was an amazing turning point for activism. It has counterparts with Puerto Ricans. Many Puerto Ricans, like Chicanos, Puerto Ricans from Puerto Rico were conscripted and died fighting that battle. And yet they were living in the colony. And many Latinos and other Latinas were involved in this war through no fault of their own and forced to suffer. So what Rubén Salazar covered was not only the burning issue of his day, that is the Vietnam War and the protests against the Vietnam War, encapsulated by the Chicano Moratorium, but he did so in a way that was forward-looking. He talked ideally about what it is about identity, an identity of a Chicano who is oftentimes vilified in the United States, despite the fact that the United States needs his labor. A Chicano who's treated in that netherworld between black and white. A Chicano who's actually one who's not going to accept the conditions that they found themselves in at that time. The Chicano Moratorium is that period of time that he covered, and it became, unfortunately, the battleground of his own death, killed at the hands of police violence during the protests in Los Angeles at that time. And it's to those issues that we speak about today.
A change is gonna come. I was born by the river in a little tent, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Oh, yes it will. It's been too hard living, and I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. A change is gonna come. A change will come. A change is gonna come. Oh, and I go to the movies, and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know the change is gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. Then I go to my brother. I say, brother, help me please. But he winds up knocking me down. Back down on my knees. Oh, there's been times when I thought I wouldn't last for long. Now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know the change is gonna come. Oh yes, it will. Oh, a change, yeah. A change is gonna come. Oh, I believe a change will
Thank you for participating in this important conversation, for viewing our platform ideas, for viewing our film, and for listening to our conversations about today's events. And the fact that we're anchoring everything that we're discussing today with the commemoration of the life and death of Ruben Salazar. Salazar, as you already know by now, is an important voice and a voice and agency for voices of people who are hardly heard about and hardly considered in public policy. And that voice is people of color, but more specifically, is the Chicanos of Los Angeles and California, the Chicanos of all the entire country. In fact, Ruben Salazar's amazing quote has been always that, quote, a Chicano is a Mexican American with a non-Anglo image of himself. And that quote says a lot, right? It talks about identity, it talks about place, it talks about the fact that Chicanos have been contributing to this country forever and ever and before that. And it talks about the fact that these issues have to be at the forefront. In many ways, police violence and the resistance to police violence is at the core of this conversation. Ruben Salazar met his death as a result of police excessive use of force and police violence. He met his death in the middle of the Chicano moratorium protests. He met his death covering these protests and what it meant for the Chicano movement at large, but also what it meant for Los Angeles and what it meant for the state. And because of that, and the resistance to police violence, it's so important that we anchor our conversations in that image of him trying to tell the world the truth about discrimination, the truth about othering Chicanos throughout Los Angeles and California. And that police violence is manifested today in all of our work. At Latino Justice, we do it all the time. we anchor making sure that our communities are aware of the ravages that are produced upon us by a police state and by state-sponsored violence. At Latino Rebels, we hear these conversations and these topics covered all the time because they're relevant to our people, our gente today. And with the Schools Not Prisons Stop the Violence tour, you're hearing about amazing work to not only resist against police violence, but bring down and transform the system completely. The Stop the Music Jail expansion is part and parcel of that tour. And the fact that it's being led by the Community Justice Action Fund and all their colegas in this effort is super important. In many ways, what we see in the images in Bad Hombres, the film, and the conversation that you heard today, talk about a community that does resist. Talk about a community that has resisted. But talks about it from a perspective of the fact that we have not been able to get our fair share of attention to these issues and the effects on our own gente. And as a result of that, today's conversation is the beginning of a longer conversation that we need to have. If we want to make sure that the lives of people like Ruben Salazar are uppermost in what we discuss going forward, then we have to remember that his death should not be in vain. We have to remember that when he was covering for mainstream media, it's just the tip of the iceberg. That we need more Ruben Salazars today. That we need more people to talk about these issues, address these issues, and take action. And what we need to do is transform police completely. The death of Andres Guardado in Los Angeles and so many others, Black and brown, in just 2020 alone, call for action. So we hope that when you had these discussions today, listen to our thoughts, saw our images and films, that you'll be prepared to continue to discuss these things in your own homes, in your own communities, and to take action to dismantle state violence and police violence. And that will be a way to honor the memory of Ruben Salazar. Gracias.
Oh, burn the cage, that's what we say. We not okay, we not all safe. Can we rotate? Time to rotate. Free my sis, can we focus? We not all sis, and we know this. Gotta hold it down, I say. Police, looking sentries, it's the dead thing. Even in trees, they patrolling. They patrolling. Okay to feel pride, since we the light and we really inside, really die in the trap that they made us, or where they laid us next to the pavement. I'm done with hoping, I'm on to knowing that we win, we still in it, we not finished the beginning. It's how winning takes, long time coming. Too hard living, changes Stay strong. Stick together. Have each other's backs. Thank y'all for having me. This is Indigo Mateo. Let's defund the sheriff. Yesterday.
It's fun right now because budgets are sexy for the first time ever. But really, they've always been important to our decarceration strategies. And now that people know what to expect, they understand what defund the police means. Some people do. They understand what we mean by investing in alternatives to incarceration. So now we're in this new moment that you can actually explain to people what we do, and they don't look at you like you're completely nuts. And that actually was one of the most powerful processes through the Board of Supervisors, was the creation of the Alternatives to Incarceration initiative. And this was a group mandated by the LA County Board of Supervisors that met over the course of a year and literally drew a roadmap in collaboration with community and public health officials on what the next steps could be toward a care first, jails last model for LA County. And through that process and through the supervisors' education, what we heard coming from their mouths were our words as they learned our language. We watched ABC7 and heard a supervisor say, "Care not cages." We heard Supervisor Solis say, "A jail is a jail is a jail is a jail." We hear Supervisor Hahn saying that jails aren't a part of California's future, they're a part of our past. And I think believing in the power of our ideas and knowing that we're right and standing in that knowledge, that belief will convince well-intentioned, principled people that our direction is the right way to go.
Schools, not prisons. We need to change the justice system. We pay, they rob us. These snakes don't want us. Each day we all play this game that they taught us. In God that we trust, but they praying on us. If she ate, then we scrape till we hate in both us. My mama's education don't mean she's still from mechanic to McDonald's to pay these bills. Trying to sell a soul just to make this still, but the people look at you, gonna hate me still. Trying to save face, paint us with a brown face. Calling us a tongue will never like it. How my name tastes. Made across the ocean, motherfuckers better make ways. If it doesn't must, they don't want us in the first. These days, what's a pay rate for a briefcase? Times late, that's a death rate, and it's prepaid. Free wage, minimum pay, and no leeway. While they throwing us bait, just so we brown face was a melee in my heyday. But wait, put your melee in your grave, wait, mayday. Put the game straight, or your meat fake. Green face of the ink taste when it bleed. Watch me make it rain. People don't know that I'm paid though. Watch me make it rain. I made that dollar from our pay, so watch me make it rain. Watch me make it rain. Yup. Watch me make it rain. Watch me make it rain. I said now watch me make it rain. People never know my face though. Watch me make it rain. I trade that dollar from a peso. Watch me make it rain. Watch me make it rain. Yup. Watch me make it rain. Watch me make it rain. Watch me make it rain. People don't know that I'm paid though. Watch me make it rain. I made that dollar from a peso. Watch me make it rain. Watch me make it rain. Yeah. Watch me make it rain. Watch me make it rain. I said now watch me make it rain. People never know my face though. Watch me make it rain. I trade that dollar from a peso. Watch me make it rain. Watch me make it rain. Yeah. Watch me make it rain. Watch me make it rain. Kung pwede launta ako makakuwahin kwarta para ako makaginhawa o bago ba trato ha akon kung mabusag pangin mestisa pat ako nitsura tutukita tatumpaning pasura paggamit ng laking lusag na pintura baga ng pelikula at aton kultura pagkitit politika puro nabuwa oranhan Yolanda taguan kwarta ginkuha baligya waray nakakita damon patay nga nanlunod na bata sekreto na may tinatago kontrata ay napakiana isara itbaba ikaunit bala kiranat bahala ayaw ka baraka kunot itinawa hirain mo ko nakuha nirit imo kwarta
sa kurakot imbis tumulong sila at nagkakainis. Paano kumita ng pera bit-bit? Ang hirap ng buhay, tsaga at tiis, palaging gipit. Wala bang hustisya sa ating basa at lahat na lang puro peke? At eto grabe, marunong nila ko gumante sa kurakot na negosyante at mata pobre. Make it rain, people don't know that I'm paid though. Watch me make it rain, I made that dollar from a peso. Watch me make it rain, watch me make it rain. Yeah, watch me make it rain, watch me make it rain. I said now watch me make it rain. People never know my face though. Watch me make it rain, I made that dollar from a peso. Schools not prisons. Ruby Ibarra. I fall, I stand up, break these walls, I rise up. Even when I lose it all, I always got my eyes up. They praying on my downfall, but I'll never give up. 1,000 cuts won't be enough to keep my fist in these cuffs. And I'm never breaking down when the odds against me. Brown, gold crown with the gods within me. Yeah, I was a flower that bloomed in the dark room. Flows like monsoons from the womb. When I write move runes and resume, I grew to lie soon. Pray too many moons on my wounds, but not bloom. Where we from? Death blue, so we hum through these tunes and hope it sparks light like a night in mid-June. My heart's consumed by hate here. It's harder when you live fear. How can you see clear when you don't see you in the mirror? I lost too many peers. They seem to disappear, but they're living through these words that I'm painting here. Tell me you'll remember me. I'm here to build a legacy. I got the ground moving under me. 1,000 cuts ain't never stopping me. And I swear I'm never giving up. Who I am or why I'm standing up. And I ain't ever need no ounce of luck to understand myself, cause that's enough. Yeah, that's enough. I can live 1,000 cuts. I can live 1,000 cuts. And live a life just covering up. What would you die for? What do you live for? When it's resistance met with an uproar. I'm trying to love more. We've had enough war. Too many stones in our hands and these guns drawn. They try to press me till I stumble down, but not this time. I go 0 to 100 now. They'll never silence me, my voice will be denied. And I'm challenging the system, no it won't be televised. And I'll never compromise, cause I'm writing to survive. When the freedom ain't free, and so let's keep the hope alive. Yeah, I see it in me, from the gladdest to my healings. From the martyrs to the artists and the writers breaking ceilings. It's life in these lines with lives on front lines. Attest to these times, so we question these minds. And if I ever bite my tongue, that'll be the death. Everything I stand for, no, it won't be any less. And P.S. Tell me you'll remember me. I'm here to build a legacy. I got the ground moving under me. 1,000 cuts ain't never stopping me. And I swear I'm never giving up. Who I am or why I'm standing up. And I ain't ever need no ounce of luck to understand myself, cause that's enough. Yeah, that's enough. I can live 1,000 cuts. I can live 1,000 cuts. Then live a life just covering up. And I swear I'm never giving up. Who I am or why I'm standing up. And I ain't ever need no ounce of luck to understand myself, cause that's enough. Yeah, that's enough. I can live 1,000 cuts. I can live 1,000 cuts. Then live a life just covering up. And I swear I'm never giving up. Who I am or why I'm standing up. And I ain't ever need no ounce of luck to understand myself, cause that's enough. Yeah, that's enough. I can live 1,000 cuts. I can live 1,000 cuts. Then live a life just covering up. And I swear I'm never giving up. Who I am or why I'm standing up. And I ain't ever need no ounce of luck to understand myself, cause that's enough. Yeah, that's enough. I can live 1,000 cuts. I can live 1,000 cuts. Then live a life just covering up. If I fall, I stand up. Break these walls, I rise up. Even when I lose it all, I always got my eyes up. They're praying on my downfall, but I'll never give up. 1,000 cuts won't be enough to keep my fist in these cuffs. If I fall, I stand up. Break these walls, I rise up. Even when I lose it all, I always got my eyes up. They're praying on my downfall, but I'll never give up. 1,000 cuts won't be enough to keep my fist in these cuffs.
Hi, my name is Rosa Ochoa. I'm with Transforming Justice Orange County, based out of Orange County, California. We are a volunteer-based grassroots organization committed to reimagining justice, safety, and accountability through ending individual, collective, and systemic oppression in the carceral system. We envision a society that does not rely on the carceral system, but instead works together to support one another, address harm, and meet people's needs. I am here today to call on you to join our campaign to stop the music. The James A. Music Jail Facility was built in 1960 and is located in Irvine, California. It has a capacity of roughly 1,300 people. The Orange County Sheriff's Department has been planning this expansion since 1990, but one way or another, their plans have been thwarted. In July of 2019, the Orange County Sheriff's Department emptied the jail in preparation for the expansion. And on May 5th, 2020, the Orange County Board of Supervisors approved the plan to spend $350 million on an empty jail facility. The Orange County jails are currently under capacity. People do not get well in a cell. And during this time of the pandemic, we do not need to be spending $350 million on an empty jail facility. Instead, that money should be going to communities to help healthcare services, mental health support, affordable housing, and more community-based care. Call on you today to join our campaign. You can sign up for our newsletter at stopthemusic.com. Take action to stop the music. Thank you.
Tansi, good evening. My name is Sakawis, which means fierce, and also Christine Nobis, and I'm Plains Cree Saulteaux of the George Gordon First Nation in Saskatchewan. I am the shift director for Seeding Sovereignty, which stands for Seeding the Hill with Indigenous Freethinkers, and it is our political engagement program that we've been working really hard on for the past few years, which is culminating now, leading up to November. And we have recently launched a campaign, a Get Out the Vote campaign, called Radicalize the Vote, which can be found at radicalizethevote.org. The whole point of this is to do what we can to overcome voter disenfranchisement in Indian country. So we are working really hard right now on a telethon that's happening on Saturday, the 29th. And it's a 12-hour telethon with many guest speakers, everything from grassroots youth all the way to people that are culture bearers, singers, dancers, and performers in order to...
And if you ask, I can give my advice. Take some of mine, I'll shine my light in your darkest time. Take mine, take mine. Give you anything you need. You don't have to beg and plead to take mine. Take some of mine. When you find it hard to speak, take my voice so you can sing. Take mine. I've been down that road before. Forgot what I was looking for. But all I really needed was to trust someone more. You don't need to ask, just take mine. Anybody else, just take mine. Oh, all you really need is just someone to rely shoulder to cry on. Take mine, take mine. Give you anything you need. You don't have to beg and plead to take mine. Take some of mine. When you find it hard to speak, take my voice so you can sing. Take mine.
If you could have a wish, if you could have infinite wishes, what would you wish for? That's what this song is about. It's called Make a Wish.
Candles on the cake, feel just like a kid. Take me to the place where I feel just like a kid. Your eyelash on my face, I'm gonna blow it to the wind and make a wish for it. I'm gonna get on track, so when I look back, I see it started with a wish for it. Before I start the game, I'm thinking of success. When I see her face, I'm thinking of success. For the first time, give me grace and let me do my best and make a wish for it. Make a wish, wish for it. When I hear the news, please let it be good. I'm waiting on some news longer than a show. It's not for me to choose. Please let it be good and make a wish for it. Make a wish, do something about it. So when I get on track, I can look back, see it started with a wish for it. So when I get on track, I can look back, see it started with a wish. Are the words that I can pray to help to make a change, something to do or say to help to make a change. All this evil today, we better make it go away. Make a wish for it. Make a wish, wish, gonna do something about it. When I get on track, I can look back and see it started with a wish. Make a wish. Make a wish. Make a wish, wish. Oh, make a wish, wish.
Thank you so much. Sending lots of love out there.